Okay, we are back again. This is our final video of Echoing Empathy. Today, we're going to be talking about how we can use empathy to um, do collaborative solutions. And I'm really excited as usual. This video right here was the start of everything. When I first was collecting and just thinking about effective communication, I was thinking about how can we have effective communication when it comes to teamwork. And it brought me through this rabbit hole of study, led me to empathy. And I realized just like how all the videos, the past videos that we did, we talked about the differences between sympathy and empathy. We also got talking points and how to create a safe place for those that are expressing emotions. And then we even dived into biblical principles and on how to express empathy. And we just went through a lot of things, but empathy can also help us to work together to create relationships that will last, and having partnerships and working in being unified in things. And this was something that I really feel like is needed, especially in the times that we are in right now. There's a lot of division that's happening, um, and I really feel like seeing different perspectives and coming in this collaborative front can really help with that. And one of those things that we even talked about in some of the other prior videos was, you know, honing into the Holy Spirit to help us with our ear to hear. And that is one of the highlights that we are going to have is how how are we hearing empathetically, you know? And then another one is, of course, how do we collaborate, come in unity to collab and come with solutions. And then what does empathy look like in action? And I know we kind of talked about that throughout the video, but just honing into it in this video. So congrats if you have watched all the videos and you're on here right now. Congrats, congrats, congrats. I hope that you have been practicing echoing empathy. I feel like this is something that you can evolve in over time. Um, I really have grown in studying it, and I just wanted to just let this out and give it to whoever needs it or likes it. And if you feel like somebody else could benefit for this, please share it. Share all the videos or just send them to this page and let them know that this is here because this is so good for whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're a professional. I just think this is a really good thing to gain skill in. So when I studied about collaborative solutions and working in unity and having a team, the first thing that came up was a phrase that um, I lean into a lot, especially in the community, is know those that labor among you. In order to come with a partnership, there's usually strengths that happen. Um, and a wise man told me that the great partnership is where they're both are benefiting, right? A win-win. And a lot of times any partnership comes together is that they see the strengths that they have. And so in that scripture phrase I said, which is coming from First Thessalonians 5:12 through 13, for those that want to go and look it up, is was Paul was talking to the Thessalonians, and he was talking about know those that labor among you. He was talking about respect those that work diligently among you, particularly those that give spiritual guidance and leadership, and acknowledging their contributions and stuff like that. And when we foster that atmosphere of appreciation and mutual respect, I mean, it really can make an impact, in your families, then in the communities, of course, the state, and I can go on, what, globally, right? I have witnessed this myself personally in volunteering and doing things in different organizations, and seeing the impact of all these different people coming from different walks of life, and coming with one mission, and how it made so much impact, and it was based off of one person's idea, right? and and stepping out and trying to solve a solution, or they saw a problem and they wanted to solve the solution, and collaboratively all these different people came together to help with that one problem, right? So um I been reflecting on this, and I really know that with unity, it does build a legacy, but the legacy has to be passed on. We have to teach, you know, what is it, pay it forward. We have to teach those things that we have learned to the younger generation. But I don't want to go that I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm not really referring to my notes very well at this moment, but I want to start with, how is your empathetic ear? You know, the first video we talked about, having a mastering the empathetic ear. So how is your ear? And so I'm going to ask a few questions and just ponder on these questions. And it's 5 questions. I don't know. Lately, I've been on the 5 kick. So the first question would be: do you find yourself formulating responses while the other person is speaking? Yeah. Do you find yourself doing that? Is it often, sometimes, or really? Or do you really just, hone in and listen? The second one would be: how often do you check your phone during a conversation? Frequently? Occasionally? Never? And then the third question would be: when someone shares a problem, do you immediately offer solutions, ask them how they feel about it, or encourage them to share more? Okay. And then the fourth question is: do you notice nonverbal cues such as body languages and tones of voice? Is that something you even look at? And then the fifth one is: how often do you paraphrase when the speaker has said to ensure your understanding? Like, do you mirror them, which is active listening? Do you do that? All right. So depending on how you answer, I'm pretty sure you're like, oh yeah, oh, I need to work on that. I need to work on this. If that was something that you probably took notes, or, you know, write how you can work on that. Like, if you see that you're on your cell phone when others are talking to you, what can you do when you're conversating? Can you put your cell phone in your pocket, or what would be your solution in order for you to be present as that person is talking to you? And it's because it's very important to be present, because you have to really pay attention to, of course, the body languages and all the things, and being able to repeat what they're saying and all those things. So it's very key to be present. So whatever that was, and if you're watching the video, you can pause it or rewind it and go through the questions again. But think of those solutions. So let's dive into, you know, coming up with solutions as a team, using empathy to work together, and the benefits that come from this. Okay. Um, I have really been leaning into being a team. I've been tested recently about what does that look like, a team, being a team, and working as a team, and being collaborative and supportive, and empathy for me, empathy is playing a big part of that. And sometimes it's not easy when there's different perspectives that come in. You know how it is. Sometimes you think your way is the right way. It is not necessarily the case, right? So, um, so I just wanted to come in to know that you need to know those that labor among you. You need to know how people communicate. You need to know, I mean, they go into this love language thing, or how people receive the way when it comes to communicating. And that is something I'm learning, that, you know, not necessarily for others, but how do I communicate? What do I need? And then when it comes to in my family, how does my daughter communicate? How does my son communicate and my husband communicate? Um, and where do I fit in that? And where is my adjustment so that we can work better as a team? And then in my marriage, same with my husband, how do we communicate? My husband leans more in a sense, he feels pain, but he doesn't act on it. He's like, okay, I see you hurting, but hey, you got to get over it. And where me, I can have my feelings on my shoulders sometimes, and we complement each other on that. And I'm grateful for him to not, because if we both were all in our emotions, that wouldn't be pretty at all. But he helps me to step out of my emotions, and I'm grateful for that, because I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for him to push me in, and especially when I'm not walking in faith, and fear is trying to overtake. He doesn't lean into his emotions too much. And but knowing our strengths, everybody brings something to the table, and it takes seeing one another to see the strengths. And I know for a fact I don't know it all. I don't know it all. I need that goes into this tribe that I think I mentioned it on one of these social media platforms about, who is your expert, who is the one that, who the person to go to on what you need, right? So, um, but I want to talk about the importance of unity. And then, I don't know, this is not on my notes. I started thinking about the Tower of Babel, and how uh the story of the Tower of Babel, and I'm trying to remember it, but what happened was it was a divine intervention. Humanity was coming together. They built this tower to they had one single language, and they were trying to go into heaven. Well, to make a long story short, God kind of recognized this thing, and he had to kind of confuse them, and gave them different languages, and they wind up spreading out. But the whole point I guess I'm bringing or highlighting to this, because I just recently got this, was the human, the potential of human collaboration, while and how that was so powerful to the point God had to intervene, right? Of course, that was a negative connotation because they had a different ambition. But can you imagine if we come together, um, you know, on one accord on something that God has ordained? What would that do? Um, but then on the same token, how can we apply it when it's not good situations? Where is the collaboration come in on that? And operating in empathy. Okay. So I want to talk about, I feel like I'm doing a lot of biblical connotations, but that's what's in me. I started thinking about Abigail and how she stepped in because she needed, even though it was her idea, it was one idea, and she came up with a solution on something. But I'm going to talk about it because a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. But if you never heard of this story, it's talking about this couple, which was Abigail and Nabal. And this is found in First Samuel, the 25th chapter. And I'm just summarizing it right now for the sake of time. But uh, Abigail, um, Abigail demonstrated how empathy and wisdom can diffuse conflict, right? And it spared a lot of lives because of that. And what happened was Abigail uh saved because she had a husband that was wealthy, but he was foolish. And he happened to say an insult to David, and David got word of it. And because of that, David was like, you know what, fine, I'm gonna wipe out that generation. And when he went wipe out, he was gonna get eliminate them. Well, a servant of Abigail and Nabal overheard this and went to Abigail, and Abigail came up with a solution. And so her solution was to meet David with gifts and humble pleas for peace. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when Abigail saw David, she hurried up and she bowed and she pleaded with him. And David saw this thing, and he began to just like he was like, okay, fine, I'm not gonna do this. But it took collaboration because she had to talk to the servant had to go get the donkey and get all these things. And it took a lot of collaboration for her to demonstrate empathy to David. So the role I saw in empathy played in this story was um, she had to see the different perspectives. She saw David's perspective. She recognized David's anger. She also recognized his positioning and understand his perspective, and was able to approach it with being sensitive, sorry, with and respect. And she also recognized the other needs of the party because if she wouldn't step in, it would affect a lot of people in this. Another thing was the action of empathy was her in her coming up with the solution, right? What can I do? What can I do? And that's what I'm saying. A lot of people might not have the solution, or they come or they have, but there might be this one person that has that vision, and we collectively come together to help. And that was her. She came with the solution, and that whole there was people that helped her along the way. And then she communicated compassion, right? She spoke to David with kindness and wisdom, validating his feelings. Okay. Um, I I really I know I'm very like not as bubbly and stuff like that. It's just I really think that this is something that removing yourself and seeing different perspectives, and I'm not sitting there going around being this human feeling bubble all the time. That's not it. But really acknowledging God, not leaning to our own understanding. I think I said that in the last video, but not leaning to our own understanding, but acknowledge Him in everything that we do. And that was something that I had to really, I think it's just it's profoundly in my life right now. And and I'm trying to hold my emotions myself because I know it works. I know it works. Um, and me removing myself, even though somebody might come at me the wrong way, or somebody might wrong me or hurt me. But when I remove myself and really ask God, okay, God, what do I do in this situation? God, let me see this person as you see him or her, right? Um, it really, he really does answer. And I have done that many of times. Many of times I've done that, and he shows up divinely, and he shows me this person. Sometimes he'll show me this person, just a little boy, a 6-year-old boy in a grown man's body, or he'll show me, I got greatness in this person. I got greatness in her. And, be careful on how you go to this person, or, uh, and he gives me strategy on how to move. And, and it's all of a sudden, it's like that love covers the wrong. And I'm a person as a fighter. I am a fighter. I mean, yeah. I'm like, you cut me, I'm gonna cut you. That was me. Was. No, I said was. So don't be scared to come to me. But that just tells you that God can change people, right? um, and now I'm amazed that he shows me, he even shows me, like, remember, and so I just hope, because this is our last video, that's why I didn't really put a lot of emphasis. I guess it's more about let's keep practicing. Let's keep practicing. So I'm gonna go back into the do's and don'ts. That's so this is like our reviewing, and I'll be out of y'all hair. Y'all have the videos, and hopefully, if you need to go back to the talking points and do all the things, that it will help you to have better human connection. Okay. So the do's is acknowledge the person's feelings. Just acknowledge them. The don't judge the feelings or dismiss them. Okay. The do, focus on understanding their perspective, but you don't have to agree with them. Okay. The don't voice your own opinion as a solution to what you are expressing. Okay. So even if they say something to you and you don't agree, please don't voice your opinion. This is not that time to voice your opinion. Okay. Do 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 set your agenda aside. So you want to set your agenda aside, and at the time of that conversation. If you don't got the time, you need to express that you don't have that time. Don't put people on a clock. Again, you don't have the time, you can let them, hey, I can't talk at this moment, or I have so and so and so, I can put you whatever. And then the other one is don't give the benefit, I mean, do give the benefit of the doubt when misunderstanding arise. Okay. So that is a little complication right there, depending on the relationship and the situation. Da, 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 da. But right now, I'm just saying, give that person the benefit of the doubt. Because depending on if you're dating, that's a whole nother can of worms. But if it's a husband and wife team, yeah, give the benefit of a doubt. And then if it's a partnership, again, that's a whole nother can of worms. Because I'm like, hey, if they show it, hmm, you might need to be aware of it. And that's when you don't lead to your understanding. That's when you need to really talk to God and be like, God, what do you have for me to do with that? Right? Don't approach each situation with your feelings on your sleeve. Have an open heart and mind, and believe in the good intentions. And that, I think I wrote that for me, because I used to have my feelings on my sleeves, but I'm growing. I'm growing. Uh, in this big age, I'm growing. Okay, so do be patient and allow silence. Silence can be a powerful tool in allowing the other person to express themselves fully. And I'm telling you, when you get quiet, you actually will learn more about that person. Hmm. Let them talk. Take notes. And then don't interrupt or rush the conversation, as it can undermine the other person's feelings and the openness of dialogue. And then a do use reflective listening to ensure your understanding by paraphrasing the words back to them. And then don't make assumptions about their feelings or experience based on yours. Because that was something we talked about. I think that was in the second video. It was in one of those videos. And it's sometimes we can get triggered and we're like, oh yeah, I've been through that too. And then we go on a whole chase talking about our own feelings. No, this is not your feelings. You need to validate their feelings, and then you go into those talking points. So how do you feel about that? What's your thought on that? You're not fixing anything. You're having them to be able to express what they gotta feel. All right, y'all. That's pretty much it for this mini series of echoing empathy. I hope this really does help you. And you got to remember that when you echo empathy, it does create a ripple effect of kindness. And it also touches. It's like I told you. It's like it connects humanly. Like um, ever since I've been really doing this and echoing empathy when I'm not in the right space, I echo it. I seen a lot of connections. I have a lot of partnerships. A lot of things have came my way. In really taking that pause to listen and to hear that person. And then also, I even take the pause sometimes when somebody tries to rush me. I I pause and be like, "Hey, can you mirror me, or can you talk about this for me? I just want to make sure you really heard me, because I have a tendency to be misunderstood." And I'm like, "Hey, wait, go back, reel that back. I want you to really hear from my heart. I want you to really take what I'm saying." So, I mean, that's it. I hope this is something that you can really, you really got something from it. If it was just one person that got something from this, and if you think this will help somebody else, please share it. Share all those videos that you have listened to. Let them know, I just want to be able to be a help to others. I cannot come on this thing or come off of this video if I do not invite you to Christ. He is the living example of the deepest compassion and unwavering love for all of us. Okay. By inviting him into your heart, you can express his grace and the comfort of knowing you are not alone. Oh my God. And I can't, for me, that was my choice. My choice was to accept Jesus. I was in a lonely state. I felt so alone, but when I invited him for myself, um, man, that is one person that I know I can go into. I would never feel alone because of him. And so I just wanted to let you know that that's all you have to do is just invite him into your heart. Okay. Oh, let's just pray. Dear Lord, I thank you for the gift of empathy and the opportunity to connect with others in a meaningful way. Help us to mirror your love and compassion to all the interactions that we have. I invite you into everyone's heart, seeking, hopefully, they will seek your guidance and your strength, and hopefully, they will strive to live with kindness and understanding. May your love shine through them. Bring them peace, joy to those they encounter. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, guys. I hope you have a good time of practicing empathy and echoing it. Until next time, walk in purpose and be strong. Bye.